Hey, this is Shea, and this is my first video for rawfood.com's WholeFu Challenge. I'm actually here at the Petaluma Raw Potluck. It's one of many potlucks that we have in our area. We're really lucky here. The Petaluma Potluck is the first Friday of every month, and it's hosted and organized by Cecilia Benjumea right here. You can check her out on www.rawglow.com, and it's actually one of the largest ones it's usually 40 to 50 people. It's a great crowd once a month. I'm bringing Cecilia out. Besides writing incredible ebooks, and you should check out her ebook on green smoothies, available on her website. She's blushing now. She's also a raw food coach, so I pulled her out before she speaks at her potluck tonight to ask her, for the newbies on WholeFu, what would you say is a great way for people who are just starting in the raw food world to transition, say like the first 3 months or so?
Okay, sure. I would say that when you're first starting out, what you need to do is you kind of need to assess your life, and you need to figure out what's a realistic goal for you. And 100% raw isn't always a realistic goal for all people. Actually, for most people, it's pretty hard to achieve in our society. So just kind of, you know yourself better than anybody else. So, choose a goal accordingly, and it could be maybe you just want to have a raw breakfast every morning, or maybe you want to, eat a salad every night, or juice every day, or maybe you want to go 50% raw, or 80% raw, or even 100, whatever is a realistic goal for you. And then once you've set your goal, you need to 100% commit to it. So, I mean, if you're not 100% committed to it, you're bound to fail.
Now, I take that to mean if you quit dairy, you quit dairy.
Right, if that's a realistic goal.
Right, and then when you quit, for me, that's when I quit something, I have to be quit that thing.
Exactly. Like, I have people, when I do my raw food coaching, I have them actually write out lists. It's 4 lists. It's like, what do you always eat? What do you sometimes eat? What do you rarely eat? And what do you never eat? And for me, it's like a menu. If the food's in your never category, they're not on the menu. Like when you go to a restaurant, you can't order something that's not on the menu. So it's the same thing with what you eat every day. If it's not on the menu, you can't eat it no matter what. So, and I think a lot of times when you put special treats on your rarely list, you can eat them without guilt. You're like, oh yeah, I eat that once in a while, it's not a big deal, and the next day you just go back to sticking with your plan. So just real quick, one of the easiest ways to add raw foods into your diet when you're first starting out is I think there's 2 ways you can do it, and you can play around with it and have fun. One is the addition principle, where whatever you actually eat, whatever you actually usually eat for breakfast or lunch or dinner, you just add raw foods into your meal. So for example, if you have a bowl of cereal in the morning, you just cover it with bananas and blueberries and apples and maybe like some superfoods, goji berries, or hemp seeds or whatever, and you still get to eat what you want to eat so you don't feel deprived, but you're adding all this like wonderful, fresh, raw nutrition to your meals.
And then pretty soon you can be doing almond milk.
Exactly.
Just keep adding.
And that's actually the easiest way to ease into raw foods. If you're a little bit more adventurous, you can do this, I call it the substitution principle, where you actually substitute 1 meal or more per day with just an all raw meal. So for example, instead of eating what you normally eat for breakfast, you have like, a green smoothie or a green juice. And so yeah, you can do both. Like you can say, okay, for breakfast, I'm gonna have a green smoothie, that's gonna be my breakfast. But for dinner, you can eat what you normally eat and a big salad. Just eat the big salad first, and you'll find that you have less room for what you normally eat. So those are just a few tips and tricks.
That was a really good bunch of tips and tricks, so thank you. I can't believe she looks so warm. I am freezing out here. I'm going to let you go back in. Before you go, because I kind of jaded you on getting to introduce yourself, tell people how long you've been raw.
Oh, well, I haven't been 100% exclusively raw, but I've been mostly raw for, actually it's going to be 8 years this month, and it's just been a wonderful transformational journey, and not to mention all the wonderful friends and community that I've met.
So check her out on www.rawglow.com, and we'll be back with one more person. Thanks. Hi, I'm back again, and this time I'm with another local raw food celebrity. I am so lucky in this area to be surrounded by such incredible people. This is John Kohler of DiscountJuicers.com, who I actually bought stuff from before I met him. When I actually met him and told him my name, he said, "You live in Roanoke Park," or wherever it was I was living, because he remembered my check. So, John, do you want to say hello? This is the WholeFu, rawfu.com.
All right, great. Hello, everybody.
So he's been how long have you been raw?
I've been raw since 1995.
It's quite a while. So he's a really good person to ask our question of the day, which is basically, if someone's just starting out on the raw food journey, what's your advice for transitioning, especially in the first 3 months or so?
Sure. So my best advice for transitioning to the raw foods diet is to start slowly. By the inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. I've known a lot of people that just try to go raw overnight and eat all raw, and guess what? It doesn't work all the time, or most all the time. So I would rather you be successful and, you know, go slowly but surely, just like the snail and the tortoise, or the tortoise and the hare. You know, the hare won. I mean, the tortoise won. So we want to go slowly, and we want to have fun while we do it. See, I'm making you guys laugh, and
the camera's shaking.
So we're gonna have fun while we're eating raw foods, and the way to do it is this: don't make any drastic dietary changes, because not only your body will freak out, but your mind will freak out, because you're used to what you're doing every day. But start out slowly by adding one extra piece of fruit a day, one whole piece of fruit, and then, you know, start off by adding an extra piece of fruit, you know, the next day or the next week or the next month, but be consistent. So every day, eat that extra apple, eat that extra orange, eat that extra kiwi, eat that extra papaya, banana, whatever. And also, you know, eat an extra head of greens or a bunch of greens. So, you know, I like to do the fruit maybe in the morning with your breakfast. So if you eat granola for breakfast, eat some fruit, then eat your granola. And, you know, you're going to find you're going to eat a little bit less granola and a little bit more fruit, and you want to keep increasing the fruit, reducing that granola every single day, and do it slowly and gradually over time, so you'll psych your brain out and you won't even really miss the granola, because you're used to having, I mean, when I'd wake up, my dad every morning would have burnt toast, because I'd smell it, it would wake me up and I'd hate the smell, and coffee. And if you just took the coffee and toast away from him, you know, he'd be outraged. But if you said, "Hey, Dad, well, maybe you're gonna have, you know, 9/10 of a piece of toast and some fruit and your coffee," oh yeah, no problem. And, you know, a small piece of apple, no problem. But if you take away that and then just try to do raw, you're gonna have some issues. I've seen it happen a lot of times. Same thing with your dinner meal, right? You want to eat your standard dinner, whatever you're eating, and just make a bigger salad. You know, I'd say try to get a bunch of extra greens in a day, whether it's, you know, celery, a whole head of celery, or cucumbers, or lettuce, kale, collards, they're all great.
Green smoothies are a great way to get that extra bunch in.
Yeah, so if you're eating them whole, raw, that's great, you know, in a salad, chopped up, or even blended or juiced. Really good ways to get more greens in the fruits. I tend to juice my greens and vegetables, but blend my fruits or eat my fruits whole.
So, thank you. I think that's really good advice, and it's actually pretty similar to Cecilia, so I think that gives it a lot of merit that two of the big experts at this potluck have the same advice. Well, we're in California, but I'm freezing my butt off, so we're going to call this for the day. I'm a little nervous because this is my first video. I will get better. Stick with us. Stick with me. Oh, and my advice on this is give yourself credit for what you are doing. If you even have a raw breakfast and a raw lunch, like a big salad for lunch, and even if you just have a little salad with what your family's having for dinner, you're like 75% raw right there. And then you can just give yourself credit for what you're already doing. This is Shea for Raw Food. See you later.